Electronic voice phenomena, frankly called EVP, are sound recordings of speech that seem to come out of nowhere. Some people believe that EVP are messages from ghosts imprinted on the recording media by means of psychokinesis. Another explanation would be that EVP are just noises or sound processing artifacts that fit the characteristics of human speech by chance, and, of course, EVP might be just hoaxes. This clip demonstrates how to fabricate EVP through modulated ultrasound without manipulating the recorder or the recorded sound files. For this purpose, we will first prepare a suitable ultrasound sample and then record that sample with digital and tape recorders. The approach presented here exploits two different audio phenomena: digital aliasing and nonlinear distortion. So let's prepare an ultrasound sample for an EVP. We start with some arbitrary voice sample. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. First, we apply a filter to remove the upper and lower frequencies, keeping only the most essential speech content.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Next, we shift the frequency spectrum of the source signal into the inaudible range above 20 kHz. We do so by amplitude modulating the signal, that is, by multiplying it with a high-frequency sine wave. This process yields two frequency blends that look like another's mirror images. Applying a high-pass filter with a steep slope, we cut off the lower band that is partially in the audible range. This is it. This ultrasound sample is currently sampled at 96 kHz, and we are going to capture it with the recorders to see if the recorded sound will be audible. But before, here's an explanation of the theory behind this. First, there's aliasing. When sampling a signal with a digital recorder and replaying it, only the frequencies below half the recorder's sampling rate are reproduced properly. Higher frequencies will be displaced as images into the lower frequency range. The rule is that if you shift the frequency spectrum of the source signal by an integer multiple of the digital recorder sampling rate, then the recorded sound will be the same as if the spectrum wasn't shifted. Let's simulate a digital recording of our ultrasound sample by downsampling it to a rate of 11 kHz. There we are, we can hear the message. This is because we shifted the original signal's spectrum by 22 kHz, which is an integer multiple of the downsampling rate. So the sound you're hearing is the sound that we would expect when the ultrasound sample is recorded and replayed at the sample rates of 11 kHz or 22 kHz. If recorded at other sample rates, it would sound distorted, like this. The other effect to reproduce the signal in the audible range is nonlinear distortion. Nonlinear distortion occurs when an audio signal is propagated inconsistently. Tape recorders, for example, change the recorded signal in a nonlinear fashion, adding frequencies that are sometimes perceived as so-called warmth. We can simulate nonlinear distortion by altering the shape of our ultrasonic wave. As you can hear, the distortion demodulates the signal, making it audible. This works independent of the frequency by which the source signal was modulated. This is different from the aliasing effect, which only works properly if the modulation frequency is an integer multiple of the sample rate. So these are the effects that we are going to exploit, aliasing and nonlinear distortion, to make audible recordings of inaudible sound. Before we start recording, let's add an audible beep at the beginning of the loop as a reference. Now there are some obstacles. First, you need a speaker box that can emit sound above 20 kHz. A tweeter with a range up to 50 kHz or higher would be ideal. Second, the microphone used to capture the sound must also be capable of receiving sound above 20 kHz. Third, the recorder must not completely filter out frequencies above 20 kHz of the input signal. Luckily, our ultrasound sample isn't so far above the 20 kHz border, so enough of it might get through even though my speakers and microphone's specified frequency range ends at 20 kHz. The sound you're hearing in the background has been recorded with this Zoom H2 digital recorder at a sampling rate of 96 kHz. As you can hear, there's only the beep, whereas the ultrasound is not audible. But even though it's inaudible, you can see the meters of the recorder move, so the signal is actually captured. This recorder also serves as an external microphone, feeding the signal into this tape recorder. So let's start the tape recording. Also, the sound is recorded by this digital camera, a Canon XS55, sampling at a rate of 11 kHz. Now let's listen to what the tape recorder has caught. There is the EVP, made audible by the tape recorder's nonlinear distortion of the ultrasound sample. And this is what the digital camera has captured. There is the EVP again, this time made audible by digital aliasing. With the Zoom H2 recorder, I could not produce an EVP. This is because its lowest sampling rate is 44 kHz. To create an aliasing EVP at this rate, the essential frequencies of the ultrasound signal would have to be above 40 kHz. That's too high to still get through the recorder's microphone and its filters. However, when using a recorder with a sampling rate of 11 or 22 kHz, the ultrasound signal just needs to be shortly above 20 kHz. As has been demonstrated, you don't necessarily need high-end speakers to create an EVP by that. Also, we have shown that the same signal can create nice EVP on tape recorders. A final note: if you want to experiment with ultrasound, please be careful. Don't boost the volume. That might do damage to your audio devices and to yourself. Also, cats and dogs can hear ultrasound. So, if you love your kitty, please get it out of the room when playing ultrasound files. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching.